And we're live.
Welcome back to Modern Mommies here on tweettalk.tv. We come here live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, and we are mommies talking about mommy stuff. I am Alexis Ann Moore, creator of the Superhero Children Project and the mommy of a beautiful 3-year-old boy. And with me, I've got my lovely co-host, Jennifer Perry. Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Excuse me for Mercury retrograde today. I'm having technical issues, so Jennifer's going to cover me if I freeze up. But hi, Jennifer. Lovely to see you, and I cannot wait to hear what you have to talk about today because, man, you're going to be on fire with this one. We've also got Miles. Miles, who is our gaming expert at soulgarden.tv. And we've got Christopher Witecki, of course, the Wizard of Soul Garden, here live with us, and Nadia Munoz. How are you doing, Nadia? You with us?
Doing good.
Am I freezing?
No, that's me.
Hi, Nadia. So today we're discussing aggressive children and how to parent angry children. And we're also going to be talking about some spooky stuff. Hey, Jennifer, what's going on in the news today?
Okay, well, I have a story for you. It's out of Wisconsin. There were two 12-year-old girls who stabbed one of their classmates 19 times. It started out really the whole reason that they stabbed their classmate was to gain allegiance to a character named Slenderman. And so basically the girls planned a sleepover. They plotted it together that they were going to kill this classmate of theirs. They lured her out into the woods saying that they wanted to play a game of hide and seek. And then when they got into the woods, one girl jumped on top of her and started stabbing her, and then they switched the knife, and the other little girl stabbed her, and they ended up stabbing her 19 times. And then they ran off and left her to die.
How old are these girls?
12.
Okay.
So 6th graders.
Hmm.
So the little, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The little girl ended up crawling and dragging herself out of the woods, and a biker that was passing by stopped, and she said, "Would you please help me? I've been stabbed." And so then he called 911, and they rushed her into the hospital. She barely lived. It missed the main artery of her heart by like less than a millimeter. So like the doctor said, less than a hair strand, and she would have been dead.
Wow.
And
lived through that?
motivated the girls to do this?
There's a character. She did live. There's a character named Slenderman, and I know, like, I have kids, and you see him on games like Minecraft and other video games on the internet, but it's a fictional character that kind of like, I guess, a boogeyman for children. Miles could probably tell us a little bit more about that character.
Yeah. So basically, this is what the internet calls a creepypasta, which is basically like campfire stories for the internet that they write, kind of like scary stories that they like to tell. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's a figure that has no face, and it lives in the woods, and it usually leaves pages around and kidnaps people. And that's basically the extent of the story, and it's gotten popular over the internet as kind of just a legend, basically.
So it's a legend that ended up in video games. Video games are just referencing it.
Well, someone decided to make a game out of the legend. The origin of it was like a contest to make like a scary picture, and that's where it ended up, and they made a story out of it. But basically, someone decided to make a game out of it, and the game is that you have to go around collecting the pages in the woods, and you can't let them catch you, basically.
So, but he shows, how is he connected to? I don't understand how he's connected to this one particular video game, Minecraft.
Well, he isn't technically. He's not at all. there is a monster in the game that's like referenced to him, but that has no actual correlation to the legend. And the skin is basically just a skin. It's just like a design that someone could get. So it's not really connected in any sort of way.
Oh, so it's just like a goblin in the game, and people started calling the goblin Slenderman?
No, the goblin, or the creature in the game, is based off of the already existing legend that
That's
was
what I
on
was
the internet.
wondering. Oh, no kidding. So the video game programmer made a reference to the Slenderman internet legend.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Oh, that's crazy.
There's
So
a there's a
Where does the lead
mod.
go to stabbing kids, though? Why would you stab a kid? Wouldn't you want to be in the woods, like, collecting letters instead of killing kids?
you don't kill kids at all in any context of the game.
Well, thank you, Miles. Thank you, Miles. Good answer.
No correlation. I don't know
Well,
how to.
Is there a part in the legend where he says he wants people to kill him? Because the girls were saying that they were trying to gain allegiance and make Slenderman proud. And so
Okay.
Well,
On Wikipedia, which is not really, the best, probably got all the information for stuff like this. But on there, it's basically saying that in 2009, which is not that long ago, that this was a character created on a forum called Something Awful, which is a comedy forum, and that it's just changed. People have adapted the guy into different stories, into different things, and that part of it is that he steals children.
But he does what? He
he
steals
kidnaps children,
Ah.
but there's no mention. It's a legend, so people like take it in completely different directions. So there's lots of interpretations of how it would actually be.
So these young girls came up with the idea of killing to impress them.
Yeah, there's nothing to really influence them in any way of how to do that. They just came up with the idea themselves, basically. So
Interesting. So Jennifer, and what else is there more to add there with Slenderman and killing, or?
well, they as far as the case is concerned, they're charging the two girls as adults for attempted murder. And so, one of them got a lawyer, and they're trying to declare her incompetent to stand trial. But really,
Wow,
it just
to
happened
me,
in May.
Obviously, yeah.
What was that? We heard something weird. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, you would almost have to be not totally with it, or have a couple of deficiencies somewhere to think that it would be okay to stab somebody 19 times for a fictional character. Like, they actually believe that when the police found them, they were walking down a highway with their backpacks and water going to Slenderman's castle. They really believe that they could go and find this person.
Where are these girls' parents? Like, are these girls doing acid during the day? Like, where do you come up with this?
I know, and it was crazy because the girls appeared like normal, everyday little 12-year-old girls. And that's what one of the little girls' parents said, that they were best friends. They spent the night together all the time. They texted on the phone. They played American Girls. They did what normal little girls do. And
Something's weird, man.
yeah, but it was just totally shocking to the parents that it even happened.
What do you think, Miles? Are sixth grade girls, are they with it, or are they like, I can't remember, but are they like still little girls, or are they?
well, I would probably recall this case most to the guy who killed John Lennon and his affiliation. That basically he says that in the book The Catcher in the Rye that the main character influenced him to do this, and people like his wife just said he was a totally normal guy up until the incident, and then all of a sudden he just thought that the book was telling him to go do this, when really it's just a book about a teenager in a city. So
Very good analysis. No, seriously, that was good analysis.
Well, I remember myself when I was 12, and I was extremely easily influenced, and just liked scary, creepy stuff, kind of like that. So I relate. When I heard about that story, I could relate to why they would do that, but not, there had to have been some kind of like intervention where like they would be like, wait, when they had the knife or something hidden, like we shouldn't do this, like they should
Right.
have snapped out of it. But I can definitely see how gullible little girls can be. I was one for sure.
When I was
Mhm.
growing up, girls were playing with like My Little Pony and stuff, man. Like, it was all capitalism-driven toys that were in their minds, not internet legends. I think the internet legend in itself is a whole interesting topic. That these kids are growing up with internet legends, and that these internet legends grow on their own. And we're talking about a collective consciousness on the internet. So this it's fascinating. It used to be the word of mouth, people talking at the water cooler around the fire. Now internet legend.
Mhm.
Fascinating.
Well, and I
Something
have
that
Go ahead.
something that was brought to life on in comedy internet forum and then adapted and it's only been since '09. Like, did these girls think that '09 was like forever ago? I mean, I know they're 12, but that was just a handful of
Hey, honey, if it's off the first page of the Google search, it doesn't exist.
right.
So there was no research past page 1 on that legend. There's no place there.
Plus,
You know
I
what?
think,
Go ahead, son.
the game, the new Slenderman The Arrival game, just came out for Xbox, so that might have been an influence on them.
Oh, that's a good point. So what is this game about?
Basically, you have to wander around the woods and collect pages, and you have to try and avoid looking at them at all costs. But if he catches you, all it does is fade to static screen, and then it's game over. So.
So we can blame Microsoft for this.
Hmm.
The static
Wow.
screen. The girls are running with their own imagination as far as what happens in that static screen. Yeah.
I can see how one of them might be schizophrenic or something, I don't know. But two, like
Mhm.
the other girl obviously had some kind of insecure, I gotta hang out with a crazy girl and do whatever she says, or I'm not cool situation going on. But like, there is seriously a line in like how far you go to impress a crazy friend. So there's something really. Two of them, two made this choice together.
That is, but I think at that age they're so, because I have a 6th grader, and she knows that Slender Man isn't real and that she should go do something for him. But she didn't, when I asked my kids, they didn't know who he was, and they've watched videos about him on the internet, so I guess that's really kind of what a lot of the kids are doing now, is watching those scary legends and scary stories and ghost stories on the internet. But at some point she would know if somebody was doing something to hurt somebody else to stop and don't do that and get that person help. And so that's what's crazy. It's just that, like you said, that boundary, it wasn't even there to stop.
Something's really, really wrong there.
I think, in my opinion, is like, how much attention are these parents paying to their kids?
Yes, it's like, yeah. It's like, girls, what are you going to do? We're going to go stab our friend. Okay.
I think the big, like a really big story here is, imagine that girl. How badass is that girl that crawled out of the woods and saved herself? Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, too.
Yeah. She
You
does.
know what? Like, sorry, but the fact that this in the news is being tied to Minecraft is really scary for parents, because my child isn't into Minecraft. He's 3, but all of my students are. And I see the kids acting weird out in the courtyard before class, and they're like, oh, they're acting out Minecraft, which to me blows my mind. So they're bringing an alternate, like, computer reality into real life instead of just living in reality. But that's another story altogether.
Miles, Minecraft is basically Legos in video game form, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, basically they just give you a big open world and you can do whatever comes to your imagination. There's no plot, there's no goal, you just do whatever.
but it's open architecture, so people can build plugins, or they can go like do their own little Minecraft world off to the side from other people's Minecraft world. So it can be a little bit corrupted or something, couldn't it? Or
Well, and you download these things called mods, and that's like a big deal with, like, I know my kids, to make better worlds and bigger worlds, and so when you download the mods, that's when you can get like Slenderman and all of these other people to put into your world and fight.
Can you really get like can you get crazy Slenderman mods, Miles?
Well,
Yeah, they exist, but it's still not tied to the actual Minecraft. That's what other people are doing. So there's no real correlation to what the main game is about.
Yeah, Minecraft's just open architecture, and I think Minecraft is not the culprit. It's just a Legos in which someone built something crazy in.
Yeah,
Right.
I just hope that the
So now there's one new thing for parents to be monitoring. You know, but at least it would have been cool if in the news they linked this to the new Slenderman game that came out. I think maybe that was a little bit sensationalizing.
The news is actually
Freak out
being a
parents.
little cruel there. The news does that, and to connect it to Minecraft is kind of cruel too. That was, I think, a ratings ploy on that news part. A little bit of a leap there to give it all to Minecraft. That's like blaming, child abduction on Legos or something.
or the new case about the nude leaks that were hacked out of famous celebrities. The celebrities now suing Google, which is like, it wasn't Google's fault. It was the people who put it on the internet.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's the search engine's fault. It's like, they didn't do it at all. They're just a search engine.
Oh yeah.
You know,
The celebrities are funny. They're just like, it's like, how come when you search, I'm on the 5th page, but my nudes are on page 1? That's the real issue. They have they don't come up with a search result unless they are nude. That's funny.
I think this can almost be tied to, like, bullying. Like, I just know I was bullied, so if I tell my kids, you don't hurt anyone, you don't make anyone feel like crap, and that's the bottom line, and if that's instilled, hopefully, deep enough, then it'll stick and they'll follow them for their life, and they won't have to do crazy stuff like live, horror fantasies and crazy shit like that.
Hey, that's a great segue into our next topic, because we're definitely going to be talking about bullies. We're going to be discussing angry children. I say angry children rather than aggressive, because aggressive is really what we're going to be talking about, but this also includes the silent brooding. The child that comes home from school and is silently brooding and you have no idea what's going on with them, but they're a raging quiet storm on the inside. From that behavior to the just loses their cool on the drop of the hat for the slightest inconvenience, to full-out bullying, whether psychological or physical. There are a lot of different forms of childhood anger and the way that it's displayed. And this topic today really is a big one for Jennifer Perry, because Jennifer, as I've said in other shows, she has been working in the Dallas school system for 17 years and is a school counselor. So she is trained many times over in all of this and has a ton of experience. So Jennifer, seriously, tell us, what does this look like, first of all, so we know as parents what it is?
Aggression looks different depending on what level of child and what age group you're looking at with your kiddos. When you see it in toddlers, it's going to be like hitting and biting and pinching and screaming, grabbing things out of people's hands. As you get up into the school-age kiddos, kindergartners, first graders, second graders, they'll still use physical aggression and will hit or scream or throw fits and kick. But once you get up into like 4th and 5th grade and up into the teenagers, they've learned that that's not socially appropriate to have an angry outburst or to hit somebody. And so then it turns more into social or verbal aggression. And so then that's when you see those kids, hurting people with their words, or going around and spreading rumors about kids, trying to socially outcast them or isolate them. It's still aggression, but girls especially, but even boys, they've learned to not be physically aggressive, but do it more in a low-key, really an underhanded way. It's a more hidden way.
That's a great observation thing to point out, Jennifer, because the catty girl, as that's a stereotype. Like, we know that. We know what that looks like. But for guys, this is where guys learn when they're really young not to cry. This is where they learn to be embarrassed about anything that isn't incredibly, like, manly, because the other guys pick on them. Because, like, these angry kids, it might be psychological, it might be physical, but really the entire point is making someone else feel pain and somehow getting pleasure out of that. So for guys, it might not be physically punching, which it often is, but the teasing and the ridicule of things like that. I know a lot of guys, a lot of men that have insecurities about things like that, and they know it's silly, but they still have it, and that's where they learn it, I think. Just like the catty girl, but it's like the catty guy. That sucks. Okay, continue. Tell us more about this.
Well, because I think that the kids learn really at an early age, because if you hit people, like when we have first and second graders who get mad and hit people, their friends don't want to be around them anymore. So I really think society just kind of shapes boys and girls to know that they have to maybe even hide their anger or control their anger, or they're not going to have friends, they're not going to be liked. And really, at the root of everything is kids just want to be liked. They want to be approved of, and they want to be loved, and they want to be part of a group. And so usually that aggression comes from either pent-up energy or pent-up hurt or anger or frustration, that those feelings really haven't been dealt with. That's really where it comes from. So you'll see two different kinds of aggressions. You'll see the ones where the kid seems like everything's fine, and then all of a sudden there's a total meltdown, or they just go push them really fast. And that could be more pent-up energy, and they've just dealt with everything that they can for that day, and they're just kind of exasperated and letting it all out. The other type of aggressive kids is really more impulsive kids. You know, those kids who were ADHD and hyperactive, and they may look aggressive because they do things before they act, or they think before they think, but they're not really trying to be aggressive. Really, when you're trying to be aggressive, you're doing that with a means or an intent to hurt somebody or to gain power over them. Kids with ADHD and impulsive kids, they're not trying to hurt somebody or gain power over them. They want what they want, and they don't think about a more appropriate way to get it. And so there's different reasons on why we see aggression, and it also manifests itself differently depending on the age.
Gosh, I really struggled with this personally as a kid, and it's funny because that we're mentioning this story about Slenderman and these girls, because right at that age, for me, I would come home in tears, you know, getting bullied by the, you know, catty girls. It wasn't like outward, you know, blunt attacks. It was just really sneaky, like little ways to degrade me or put me down, little stuff like that, you know. And I don't ever think I was personally an aggressive child. If anything, I had to learn to be aggressive, just to like not necessarily aggressive, but like, you know, fend for myself a little bit. It never came naturally to me, but it's funny, you know, watching like my daughter now. She's nowhere near that stage. She's 3, but you know, I'd have to like watch myself and make sure, because like she'll start talking the way that I talk to her to my son, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should be nicer when I say things to her. You know, because I'm sure she's feeling all kinds of aggression too from mommy doesn't want me to mess with her right now or whatever. But yeah, gosh, bullying sucks for me.
Feeling frustration and disappointment and all of those things, those are things that happen in life. You know, like feeling anger isn't the problem. It's recognizing it and how you deal with it. And when they're really little, that's where we teach them. Like my son, for example, when like he's 3, and I look at him, and I have to stay calm and centered and not react, and realize that his behavior is not him. His behavior is the tool he's using at that moment. So it's my job to give him a new tool. So when he starts getting angry and throwing a toy, I just look at him and go, wow, man, you look mad. That doesn't feel good, does it? and I just kind of teach him that way, you know.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, of course, I'll get into that a little bit more when we go into strategies and stuff, but at that age, I mean, you feel frustration and anger. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just knowing that you deserve to clear it and feel whole and harmonious.
I think that's a big part of it. You know,
What do you think, Jennifer?
well-
Give us some rundowns of what your experiences are at the school.
I agree. I do think that that is a big part of what we're seeing in schools. The kids, once that frustration keeps building up and building up, they have to have a way to release that frustration. And if as parents, we can just remain calm and give them those tools to teach them how to recognize that anger and deal with it and release it, then that's really a life skill that they need to have. That'll make them more successful in life in any area. Chris, what were you going to say about what you?
I was just going to share that when I was a kid, I used to bully on my little brothers. Actually, it would come out as aggression onto them, and I'm one of the most gentle spirits. I mean, knowing myself now as an adult, I've thought back to those times of when I got aggressive, and I realize now that for one, I've always been empathic. And my aggression, I can line up to when my parents started fighting really badly with each other before the divorce. So my parents started fighting really bad, and I remember being filled with anger and rage and taking out on my brother. So it just filled me, and I don't know. And I'll say in that sense, you know, cartoons or whatever. The first thing that comes to your mind to do to your brother comes from a list of cartoons you've seen. Like, so I have to say, like, no, I didn't drop the anvil on his head, and I didn't push him in front of the car. Like, I did dodge the major cartoon stuff. But I can relate to that in the sense of, like, now my parents were not at all. I mean, they were just absolutely clueless that I was full of that rage. They looked at it as being hyperactive, but I was angry inside. I was angry, and it was my parents' anger. That's what I was
And really, we just have to teach our kids ways to deal with that anger and to get that anger and frustration out. Because if it's kind of if we'd have known what we known then, what we know now. If your parents would have been able to recognize that and teach you another strategy or a different way to get that anger out, then you would have because I'm sure once you hit your brother afterwards, you probably felt bad. And you could have kind of totally skipped.
Oh yeah, I couldn't even believe I'd done it. It really took me. I have to say, it took me over. It took me over. And I'm not a violent person. I mean, I don't even know if that was past life, but I'm not very much a violent person or anything like that. But it did take me over.
And a lot of it's because the way that kiddos' brains develop at that age, they don't have the ability to control all of that emotion and all of those feelings. And so they end up lashing out at people by saying hurtful things or doing hurtful things. But as we grow older, then that part of our brain develops. And so then we have better self-control and we have more opportunities to practice that. But as kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, I always remember that means they've been on the earth 9 years. That's all. And so that's really not a lot of life experience for them to figure out all of those things and how to deal with all of those emotions. So we have to teach them.
I don't think parents are aware of their emotions. At least that was.
So and the kids mirror us. I get upset. I mean, I have my life, and then I do my thing, and my son, and sometimes I have a rough day. And if I yell at him, the trick is to catch yourself in the moment and go, whoa, I was just really mad. That didn't work out for me. And I'm sure not solving any problems in a very good way by being this way. So let me take a few breaths and I'll be right back. And then I do that, and then I come back. And then my kids see, yeah, Mom just got angry, but she just showed me how to deal with it. I'm kind of conflicted because I don't believe, swallowing anger is not healthy for anyone. I mean, that causes disease. That causes war. That's like, it's a bad thing. But recognizing it in the moment and recognizing that it's not a healthy vibration for you, and recognizing that you can stop and ground yourself and instantly get centered and find the way to deal with your problem in the moment, then you're not angry anymore. So there's no more anger to swallow or to get out of your system. You're just not angry anymore. That's what I teach in superhero children. I teach children, okay, how does this feel inside? If you feel like this, and you're closed off and you're not breathing, then any action you take from there is going to either get you in trouble or hurt somebody or whatever. It's not a good idea. You got to ground, do your heart breath, and then open up and see what comes to you.
You're absolutely right. Working with
what do you think about that, Jennifer?
Yeah, you're right. That's what I teach the kids at school, that angry or aggressive kids, that they have to stop and we have to notice where does it feel in your body and what is your body doing. You know, are you clenching your teeth? Are you squeezing your hands real tight? And we teach them that. And then once they notice, oh, I feel it in my stomach or I'm squeezing my hands, then we can start talking about ways to relax and kind of freeze. So then you can, we don't call it centering, we just so you can calm down. Because when they're in that mode, that part of their brain, they can't think. They can't make rational decisions. So they have to be able to calm down. So I tell them so their brain can think again. Because when you're mad, your brain can't really think. And so you teach them that little by little, and then once they're calm, then we can go back and solve the problem or, you know, talk about whatever caused that outburst or that anger.
I gotta be a token dad here and say that, like, this is where sports, team sports, karate, these types of extracurricular activities totally help kids with this stuff, particularly the martial arts or even team sports. You like a jackass a couple of times, you know, like you start to really get in control of your aggression and acting out. And I think that's the other thing I just want to throw in there too. I think a lot of this aggression happening in kids is because they're sitting on their iPhone and they're not exercising, they're not going outside and playing. They actually have no outlet for the energy that you and I rode 25 miles on our bike every day. We were kids. Like, I was a very active kid. We didn't. We were exhausted by the time. We wanted to punch each other, but we were tired. You know, I want to punch you tomorrow, bro. Tomorrow.
You're absolutely right. And that was really one of the strategies. One of the ways to deal with aggressive kids is get them out, get them involved in sports or karate or some of those activities to get all of that extra energy out. So then that way, like you said, they're too tired to punch each other. They can actually, they don't have all that extra energy, so then they can think and think rationally.
And I'll just say this as another father tip to fathers out there: laser tag. Laser tag is like, it combines video games with running around a dark room, and they are worn out with laser tag. It's like a combo of the technology plus exercise.
And those guns are heavy.
Those little not the laser tag I play.
The ones I had were heavy. My arms were tired.
I want to kind of like.
Texas laser tag must be some big ass artillery. In LA, it's like you
switch gears and talk about like a in the home.
Okay.
I want to switch gears and talk about like a real life in the home scenario for the parents out there. Like, so say you have a daughter who just gets mad, like something doesn't go her way. She's got siblings, and something doesn't go her way, and she's just mad. And when she gets mad, she storms off and slams the door and just makes everybody's life hell for a while. You know, like that kind of anger where you just blow up.
Sounds like a lot of girlfriends.
Because that's the kind of thing that parents are experiencing at home. They're not in this.
You know, and a lot of times, the best way to do that with
we're on this week.
A lot of kids, when they're at home, if you're talking about a kid who's in elementary school now, when they're angry and they're storming off and slamming the door and they have that angry outburst, at that point, it's almost like the explosion has already occurred. And so from that point on, you're kind of in damage control. You can't try to remediate or solve that problem at that moment. And so what you really have to do as a parent is remain calm. If there are certain house rules, if they're hitting somebody or breaking things or throwing things, those are kind of deal breakers, and so those you should be using consequences for. If it's an aspect of they storm off and they go to their room and they slam the door, really, okay, it wasn't the calmest way to do it, but really they felt that anger and they removed themselves from the situation to give themselves an opportunity to calm down. And so as a mom, I might let that happen for a little while. And then once they were calm, when I would go back to them and we would talk about, okay, you know, you did an awesome job at feeling that you were really angry and removing yourself. But it's not okay to slam the door. It's not okay to stomp up the stairs. So next time, let's figure out a different way that we can do that.
A lot of times, they must be getting that from their actual parents, though, that behavior, don't you think? Or they're getting that? I mean, like...
Yeah.
Yes, because kids learn how to handle anger by what they're watching you do. And so you really have to take a look at how... You really have to take a look at how are you expressing your anger. Because if when you get angry you're throwing things or you're slamming doors, well then that's how your kids are going to express their anger. And so really that's kind of like a family systems issue, and everybody needs to figure out ways to calm themselves down and express that anger differently.
Right. My tiny mirror.
And you know,
is call
something that I put in my blog.
Go ahead, Alexis, you're live.
Sorry, something that I keep freezing, I apologize. Something I put in the blog, and please go find it, because I'm not really covering that stuff right now because Jennifer is such an expert on this, and she didn't write a blog, so I want to hear everything she has to say. But I did add some really helpful stuff and some interesting insights on the soulgarden.tv modern-mommies. But definitely the most important thing here, grown-ups, you know if you are not dealing with your anger well, and you're expecting your kids to, and that makes us feel like guilt, mommy guilt, which makes us feel like even more crap. So a major point that I made in my blog is admit, like I said earlier, admit when you're not doing it right, and go and say to your kid, oh wow, I didn't do that right, let me try it differently, because then they'll see, and they will respect you more when you show that you recognize your faults than if you try to cover them up and pretend you're perfect. You don't have to be perfect. And it also lets your kids know that they're not expected to be perfect. There's a lot of anger from that alone. When they think that you expect them to be perfect and they know they're not living up to it, that's the silent brooding. You know, that just lay off the perfection. Admit when you screwed up. Take a deep breath and say, wow, I'm going to try this differently. They'll thank you for it. You don't believe me, just try it and see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right, well, on that note, so since we're talking about parents getting frustrated, how about some mommy the mommy? What do you have for us today, Jennifer?
Okay, I have some strategies, things that you could do to make sure that you're really spending me time as a mommy. You have to take that time for yourself where you disconnect from everything just so you could recharge your own battery. And so I tried to find some things that you could do inside your house if you're in a situation where you can't leave, and a couple of things that you could do outside your house just to kind of revitalize yourself. And so first thing I have is journaling. If you like to journal or write things down, find just a cheap spiral, go to your bedroom and journal. You can write creative stories, you can journal about like your feelings of the day, anything to get those emotions out. Some people love to write poetry, and maybe they haven't done that since they were a kid. Use that time to still get that creative energy and express it, because that's going to make you feel good. Another thing to do, and you can do this outside of the house, is most department stores will give free mommy or free makeovers. And so you can go in there to the makeup department and ask them for a makeover. And they will completely redo your makeup. They can update it for you, show makeup in the latest styles, and it's absolutely free. And so that's something really we don't take time for ourselves enough. And so that's an easy way, is a cheap way that you can go and update your look and make yourself really feel good. Another one that I found you could do this out of the house too is take a class. You can go and take a class at a local community college, and lots of them are free. And you can take anything from cooking to speaking French to theater, anything. And so you can find that thing that you're passionate about and go and take a class. Because that's when we improve ourselves and we do learn something new, it makes you feel better and more confident and stronger as a woman and a mommy and all of that good stuff. The last one that I found that I love, and I actually do this around the house sometimes, is turn on music, go to your bedroom, shut the door, take your 5 or 10 minutes, pop in your favorite tunes or your favorite songs on your iPods, and just sing and dance around. Lots of times if you will just sing to your heart content and dance, you'll feel good. You'll expend some of that extra energy. But just listening to the songs and music that you really love and enjoy and doing that dancing tends to revitalize you. And so really the point is take time for yourself. Do something that you really love to do, or something that makes you feel good, something that you enjoy, because when you're happy and you're doing things that you enjoy, then you recharge those batteries and you have more to give to your family and to your kids. But you can't take care of others if you're not taking care of yourself. And so it's important to do that.
I want to do a Daddy the Daddy segment.
Okay.
That's like, give your kids 3 Benadryl pills at 8 and order a pizza at 9. Just kidding.
That is crazy. Why do daddies
that
always
sounds
want to
like
drug
a fun
the
night,
kids? Because
no.
every daddy I know says stuff like that. Just give him extra Tylenol.
Not Tylenol, Benadryl. It's on my... He got sleepy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Daddy the Daddy time.
Oh, no. Nadia, how do you spend your me time? Is she frozen?
She's spending it now.
Are you there, Nadia?
This is my me time.
We're having Mercury retrograde all over the place here today, ladies.
I'll tell you what I do. I go sit under the tree for 10 minutes and I be really quiet.
Okay.
Sorry, were you guys addressing me?
We were just asking you how you spend your me time.
Sorry, my computer did something weird. My me time. This is a good me time. I've been like more of a night owl because I have a 3-year-old and an 11-month-old, and I don't have any time to do anything except for when they're asleep. So, like around 12 in the morning is my me time. And Facebook, although I hate to admit it, is a big part of me time. And yeah, I feel really consumed being a mommy. I need more outings, but yeah, that's mostly it.
It's hard as mommies to find that time, but so important to just take 5-10 minutes if you have to. That's important. So, Alexis, are you back with us?
10 minutes, maybe once or twice a day. I'm back. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see
Man,
you,
Mercury
yes.
is like, got me strong today. Anyway, I love my me time. I sit on a bench under a tree in the sun for 5 minutes and I just be quiet with my mind. And it's really nice. It's really nice to think, because that's something that I don't get to do a lot with my 3-year-old around. He's there he wakes me up, and it's go, go, go. There's no thinking. I think about how am I going to cut his cucumbers today. Like, that's, yeah. Sitting in the sun. So I'm a little flustered right now because I realize that I can't pull up the Hot Daddy of the Week pictures this week, and I'm really frustrated about that because, as you know, that's one of my most favorite things. We got a few. We've got actually a lot of Hot Daddy, a lot of Hot Daddies sent in this week, and I really wanted to share at least one, but I can't pull it up. So we're going to have to share that on the Facebook group. If you are, if you viewers out there, if you would like to be a part of the Modern Mommies Facebook group, find us and send us a message through GA Venus or Soul Garden, and we'll get you on there. But we'll be sharing it there, and then we'll bring it back next week. Don't worry, I'll bring back the Hot Daddy next week. I'm
Have to have
bummed
a
about
hot
it.
daddy.
But we
Yeah.
have some stellar daddies out there. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, that wraps us up for this week. Be sure to look for the blog on soulgarden.tv/modern-mommies. And if you would like to join us here on Modern Mommies, hit us up at sgmodernmommies@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to send in your hot daddy, how do I say that? Your hot daddy of the week nomination. There we go. Go ahead and send it to the same address, sgmodernmommies@gmail.com. I want to say thank you, Nadia, for joining us again. It is wonderful to have you. I look forward to having you back. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Christopher, thank you for being our token daddy, Christopher. As always, you're entertaining, and I love your take on things. We definitely need that.
Smart ass.
Benadryl and pizza. Yeah. And as always, Jennifer, I love hanging out with you.
Yes.
It's been great, and thank you for all of your expertise. Seriously, I think you should write a blog also on this and post it. But that's just me. Also online, we've got some great videos for helping. Jennifer, yes.
No, go ahead.
You want to give us? We've got some videos posted on the blog for helping, and some really great helpful links for you parents out there that need it. So join us here next week. We are going to have our Halloween/Ebola special. Ooh. So if you have any tips for a safe Halloween, or a yummy treat for Halloween, or any kind of Halloween tips or tricks, go ahead and email them to us. I'd love to share them online or on air. And until then, forget my Mercury retrograde. Until then, live, love, be.